Hey, we're Sales.
And these are records in my life.
Guys, thanks so much for being on the show.
Yep, thanks for having us.
How's the road going so far?
It's awesome.
Exhilarating. Just been amazing time. Super great shows.
And tell us about your latest. This is a show about records and educating people about music. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, as Glenn Matlock once said, tell us a little bit about your record and what you're touring behind or your new single or what's going on.
We just self-released our second LP called Forever and Ever. We self-produced it, recorded it, mixed, mastered, the whole shebang in between our bedroom studios.
It's really special for us because it's, in the past records we had some help on the visual side of it. We've always been focused on the music. But this record we actually did the visual and the music. Pretty much everything is from us on this record, so it's pretty significant to us in that regard.
What a daunting task to put it all together. Was it did it take a long time or did it come together quickly, or was it a long process?
Well, we had a deadline. We just set a random deadline, and nothing really came together until that deadline. We were working a lot, but didn't really make any decisions until we really had to.
Yeah, it's the last couple weeks were the busiest. I feel like you could probably relate to that, and with projects, you really get that last bit of inspiration in the last.
Cool. Let me ask you guys a question. You're on the road a lot. Do you visit? When you visit a record store, if you stumble across something, what is the best find that you've just stumbled across, a miraculous situation?
For me, I found a very old copy of the South Pacific, and I had never heard it before, but the cover artwork was just really entrancing, so I put it on, and it's just been a repeat record for me. The instrumental side in particular. I'm not super into musicals, but it was just something I kind of took a chance on because it looked cool, and it's beautiful. It has all that crackle in there. It was really lovely.
That's fantastic. Let's stick on the record store thing.
Yeah,
what's the first whatever record or CD you bought?
The first CD I was given was Oops, I Did It Again, Britney Spears. That was great. I was given that and a boombox to play it in.
Wow.
But the first one I bought was actually the Dirty Dancing soundtrack.
I've had the time of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't purchase the cassette myself, but I remember being in my mom's car and putting in the Backstreet Boys cassette, the actual, I forget which record it was, but they're all big, they're all famous records. And then CD, the one I bought was Smash Mouth, Fush, Mang, the first one.
What's the song? What's the song off that one?
Walking on the Sun.
Okay, right.
Yeah, so I actually listened to Smash Mouth actually, the first record.
On the way here.
Yeah, on the way here, I put on Astro Lounge. I was like, hey, this is actually a good record. So actually, I bought Astro Lounge years later. Only because I was like, oh, well, I guess I like Smash Mouth.
Yeah.
I can't lie. So that was one of my first CDs, and then.
Let's talk about a recent discovery, something that you've just stumbled upon, or someone told you about, in which you're really digging.
I think it would be Life After Youth by Land of Talk. Our sound engineer showed her project to us. I'd never heard it before, and now it's my most listened to record.
Yeah, it's been the soundtrack to our last couple tours. Super sentimental, and I never really listened to any of the Saddle Creek bands. On Saddle Creek Records,
sure.
Bright Eyes and stuff.
Conor Oberst.
Yeah. So it was new to me. It opened up that kind of all of that for me personally.
And is there a record that when you were really, really young, which you kind of glommed onto, which you learned how to play along to?
Yeah, I was so hardcore into classic rock, and those guitar licks were so over my head.
Don't sing Nirvana's classic rock.
No. I was into Led Zeppelin really hard, and Jimi Hendrix. And I really looked up to the guitar playing, like Eric Clapton, and you know, the Yardbirds had this like rotating cast of like amazing guitarists, and I wasn't good enough to play those songs, but I was all about it.
Was there an album, a title in particular that you know, that you really wanted? I know you mentioned a few, but what album?
I have an album. Okay, the Aftermath UK record by the Rolling Stones is like early Rolling Stones, like Mother's Little Helper and like Under My Thumb. I love that record. They have like Lady Jane with that harpsichord on it. I love that record so much. I put it on while we're driving. That was an early record.
It's been referenced. It's a good. It's not the first one. I mean, that album has been referenced a few times, aside from Exile on Main Street. But yeah, no, it's a great record. Yeah, not to tell you that I know everything. But
no, you've heard of it. You've heard of it.
I don't know anything.
Yeah, you know. You seem like you know. I feel like I don't know much about a lot of records. Wow. Still discovering things every day.
So what? Yeah. Give me one as a youngster. Give us a record that you sitting in your bedroom and.
It's so cliche. I mean, it's, you know, the Beatles. Yeah. You know, Revolver. Like
that's
course.
A great. I mean, that's not cliche because it's a great record.
No, it's a great record. Yeah. I'm not ashamed. I like the Beatles. Yeah.
No, I mean, how could you not like the Beatles?
Well, people shame people for liking the Beatles. Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah, I don't know how often people roll up on the show and mention the Beatles, but probably not. People are like, I'm going to try my best to not say that. So I'll probably say. The Beatles have influenced me quite a bit.
There's no shame in saying you like the Beatles. I mean, absolutely zero. Anyone who says that is like, you guys have been real sports. Thank you for being on the show. I just want to ask one final fun one. I'm probably sure you've seen I'm pretty sure you've seen the film School of Rock with Jack Black.
Oh yeah.
So let's do a fun one. You just got a job teaching a music class like young kids, and you have to send them home with one record to kind of influence them and give them a good, and you each need to give me one, and it's like, it doesn't have to be like, it's got to be a great record which they could be, help them influence them.
Does it have to be rock? It's School of Rock.
It doesn't have to. No, it doesn't have to be rock. It's like a School of Rock thing. It could be like Miles, like Davis, kind of blue, or.
I'm gonna give them "What's Going On" by Marvin Gaye because that's one of my favorite records of all time.
That's tasteful.
And you got to teach them what a record's all about. They have the skits. And the wood blocks, all the beautiful percussion.
That's a pretty one. I was gonna say, in the vein of Jack Black, you know, I would say The Chronic, Dr. Dre, The Chronic. Teaching the kids a little something about, you know, a little bit harsher things.
But that's a good one because it's a super influential record too. It's very important.
We were listening to it on tour, and it's one of the most cinematic records of all time. Like just in general, not even in a genre. It's like I think it exists outside of a genre.
Thank you again for being on the show. We like to ask our guests for words of wisdom. It can be a joke, words of advice to close it out from each of you.
Believe in yourself. Work hard. Enjoy everything you do, even if you don't.
KTSE.
What is that?
I don't know.
You don't even know
Look
what
it up. I looked it up. I just can't remember what it means.
We don't know what that means. We hope it's good and positive.